All right, welcome back. You know, there are so many facets to these wildfire stories in California. We're going to hear a lot about the climate change. We're going to hear a lot about regulations and fire hydrants. But at its core, you know what the next 6 to 12 months is going to be about? Insurance. Yep. Now, we reported on Friday that a lot of residents in California were dropped when it came to wildfire insurance. State Farm started dropping coverage in 2023. There are horrible reports that some people in the Palisades were dropped 5 or 6 days before the wildfires hit. And let's assume you were really lucky and your house survived. Do you really want to go back and live in that acrid hellscape for 2 years while construction rages around you? And will there be enough construction companies to even meet the demand? Will there be enough money even to rebuild? If you're offered 75% of your land value, do you take that and run? If you don't get my drift, what I'm trying to say is this. It's going to be a 2-year mess. At least. Now, they're still just cleaning up in Lahaina, Maui from that one. That was in August of 2023. Now, my next guest, I'm sure she'll have an opinion on this. Please welcome to the show, Rebecca Walser. Rebecca, thanks for taking the time. Yeah.
Ignore my T-shirt. I just was on a plane. Ignore me.
It's okay. We like NYU. Oh, I looked it up. Lahaina was August of 2023, and they're still cleaning up the debris.
Well, you know, when you have these policies, Scott, and you're in these blue states, Hawaii, heavily Democratic state, California, obviously heavily Democratic state, and you have all of these policies, it's not until something like this, like a doppelganger event, you know, comes about and people realize, whoa, you mean there actually are tactical and practical implications for these policies, like there's no water in the fire hydrants and they didn't reroute the water from other sources that they could have. I mean, because they don't want to save this property. Because why, Scott? They don't want home ownership to be affordable. They want this to be the elite of the elite of the elite. And we're talking about, you know, maybe the top 0.5% or even less than that, that can own these properties. And this is really a return. Policies like this that make insurance so unaffordable, they have to pull completely out of state. Look at the same thing happening in the state of Florida with these massive hurricanes that we had that have become almost weaponized. You know, we saw 16 like Oklahoma-style tornadoes that preceded the last Hurricane Milton, which, by the way, ripped out 5 of my 7 oak trees that were all over 100 years old on my house on a lake in Florida. So the bottom line is the weather has been something. We can talk about that later. But the insurance pulling out really makes them realize the feudal landlord's dream, right? Get the serfs back to the serfdom and have the landowners and only the absolute top be able to afford actual property ownership, because the state, the collective, is no longer going to do anything to maintain water and forestry and all of these things because they don't want to.
And they can't even afford the insurance. Even if they write state policies, they can't afford. I mean, I can't remember the name of the state policy in California. I think the Fair, whatever it was, is they may be at risk of going under. They might not be able to meet all those obligations as well. And so here's my point. Let's just say that your house survived. You know what it smells like after a house fire? I mean, I've seen forest fires. I went to the University of Colorado. I've seen what that does to a forest, let alone a house. It smells for a long time. I mean, you're not going to want to stick around even if your house made it, right? I mean, I don't know if these people realize how much of a uphill battle they've got coming. And my next question would be this. If they reduce all the regulations, the climate change regulations, if they reduce all those, did they need them in the first place? You know, that's my question. I mean, if you're going to try to make it so that people can build, why did you have them in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Scott, we really have to stop and look back and say, look at North Carolina. We've got, you know, the hurricane from North Carolina. We've got people still living in tents in the middle of the winter in the snow up there.
Yep.
Now you've got California, you've got Hawaii. So if you look at the systemic issues of weather pattern across the country in the last 3 or 4 years, what is happening? Where is FEMA? Where are the funds? Where's the state and local cooperation? And to me, it seems like a systemic target on property ownership to make it not affordable for the average guy. And when you take away property ownership for the average guy, that's the definition of the American dream, being able to own your own roof. When you take that away, you completely change your populace, you completely change the impetus that more than half of your country has to actually care, make a living, have an education, have children, and provide and you know, actually contribute to society. So this is the breakdown of society that we're really talking about. We just don't see it yet because it looks like it's weather.
And they haven't solved the insurance crisis problem in Florida. They're not going to solve it in California. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to have to be self-insured, or you're not going to be able to be involved. And that's what you're saying. That's going to be the uber wealthy that will only be able to do that. So, and just like we got done talking about state and local taxes with Dan Geltrude, that's red states subsidizing rich blue states. A lot of people aren't going to want to have FEMA or people subsidize people that want to live, in areas that burn down a lot or flood a lot, just because that's their choice. Because you shouldn't probably be living in areas that happens to. Now, I had a trusted confidant of mine say it really isn't climate change. We're just building in places that flood and burn a lot because everybody's looking for the beautiful view. Well, it comes with a cost.
Well, okay, true. Yes, I agree 100,000%. But I'm just thinking, like, where are we going to go? The plains of Oklahoma have tornadoes, I mean, there's earthquakes, there's mudslides, there's sinkholes in Florida, hurricanes, typhoons, tsunamis. You cannot go anywhere in this world and escape environmental risk. If you want that, you might as well just go underground. And even then, you've got, earthquakes. So we can't live in a perfect world, but we can definitely live in a world that has a lot more perfect conditions than what we're living in right now.
I agree 100%. I'll leave it at that. You're awesome. Thank you very much. We like the NYU t-shirt. Don't worry about that. Thanks for being on the show, Rebecca Walser. She's the president of Walser Wealth Management down in Tampa, Florida. All right.